Most people think they can pick just any easy suburb and be fine, but that's a huge mistake. Many are flocking to the suburbs over the city. But here's the catch. Home prices are rising fast. Pick the wrong one, and you could miss out on six figures. In today's video, I'm breaking down the 8 best suburbs with real data that you won't find anywhere else. Trust me, this is the intel you need before making a huge decision. So, why are so many newcomers choosing the suburbs over DC proper? Trust me, it's not just about wanting a backyard. Let me break it down. First up, schools. The suburban school districts around DC, many get A+ ratings compared to the city averages. And we're not just talking about test scores here. There are places with crazy good AP classes, cool specialized programs, and facilities that honestly make some private schools look outdated. Then there's the space situation. For what you'd pay for a tiny 1,200 square foot condo in the city, you could get a 2,500 square foot house with a yard, a garage, and all the modern stuff you want. That's literally more than double the space. Think about it. With so many of us working from home at least part-time now, that extra space means real home offices, learning areas for kids, and just room to breathe without feeling like you're living in a shoebox. Even in our most expensive suburbs, which we'll get to later, you're still getting way more bang for your buck than in DC proper. The houses themselves tell a pretty interesting story too. A lot of these suburbs have newer construction with those open floor plans everyone wants, energy efficient everything, and smart home tech built right in. Now, compare that to fixing up some 100-year-old DC row home, where moving one wall might uncover $50,000 in surprise expenses. Been there, not fun. But wait, what about the infamous DC commute? Isn't that the deal breaker? Well, you might be surprised. Contrary to what everyone thinks, many of these suburbs actually have totally reasonable commute times. I'll share exact times from each suburb throughout this video. Some will probably shock you with how accessible they really are. Let's talk bang for your buck. What $800,000 gets you in DC versus these top suburbs? Night and day difference. In the city, that buys you maybe a 2-bedroom condo with a ridiculous monthly HOA fee. In many of these suburbs, that same money gets you a 4-bedroom house with a yard and those excellent schools I mentioned. Alright, ready to dive into the first one on the list? Current residents swear by it as the complete package. And honestly, they're not wrong. But before we continue, if you're still with me, you're probably finding this content helpful. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I drop weekly videos on the best neighborhoods, market updates, new projects, and everything you need to know about life in the city. North Potomac hits that sweet spot between peaceful and command. It's got about 2,400 people, so it's not huge, but it keeps that calm residential vibe while having pretty much everything families need just a quick drive away. Median home price, around $900,000. Yeah, that's not cheap, but it reflects both the amazing quality of life and those exceptional schools. Speaking of schools, wow, North Potomac is part of the Montgomery County School District, which consistently ranks amongst the best in the entire country. The stats are pretty mind-blowing. Take Reston Churchill High School, 83% math proficiency and 87% reading proficiency. That's not just top of the class, that's practically off the charts nationally. And these aren't just random numbers, they translate into real-world stuff like great college acceptances, scholarship money, and setting kids up for success. Want to know what's super convenient? From most North Potomac homes, you're literally a 5-minute drive from real lakefront, with all its shopping, restaurants, from casual to fancy, and places to hang out. There are also all these amazing trail systems connecting neighborhoods, so you can be active outdoors without ever having to get in your car. Pretty sweet setup, right? Now, let's check out the next suburb, which offers a bit of a different vibe. I'm talking about North Bethesda, home to around 49,500 residents, where the average home price is around $645,000. Though luxury properties can easily climb much higher. What makes North Bethesda really stand out is how close it is to major job centers while still feeling residential. The Pike and Rose development has totally transformed this area into a walkable community that feels urban, but with all of the suburban perks. The schools here are just as impressive. Walt Whitman High School has 82% math proficiency and 90% in reading. Parents I talk to are just over the moon about educational opportunities here, especially those specialized programs in STEM, arts, and international studies. But here's where North Bethesda really shines. The commute. The Red Line Metro gets you downtown in about 27 to 30 minutes. No dealing with traffic. And it sits right where major highways meet, so you can easily get to jobs all over the region. This is huge for professionals who still need to be in an office a few days a week, but don't want to sacrifice their quality of life. Now, if you're more of a Virginia person than Maryland, you're gonna love our next suburb. It's got this perfect mix of urban-suburban mix with amenities so good you might actually forget you're not in the city. So get this, Colonial Village in Arlington was just named the #1 place to live in America for 2025. And honestly, local residents aren't even surprised. Arlington as a whole makes a pretty awesome case for suburban living with urban perks. Arlington's got about 243,000 people and is growing almost 1% every year, which is actually pretty significant. It's a magnet for young professionals with energetic vibes. The average household income, a whopping $184,000. That tells you a lot about who lives here. Government contractors, federal employees, and tech workers who create this really dynamic community feel. It's a stark contrast to the older, more established vibe of other neighborhoods that we'll explore later. Now, the housing market in Arlington is fascinating. Single-family homes are expected to hit around $1.4 million by the summer of 2025. That's crazy good value retention, even when the economy gets weird. And the median age here is just 35 and a half, way younger than most suburbs, which creates this perfect balance between family-friendly stuff and fun social opportunities for young adults. But what I really love about Arlington is how every neighborhood has its own unique personality. You've got the fancy high-rises in Roslyn with those jaw-dropping views of DC, and then just a few minutes away, the super quiet, tree-lined streets of Lime Village. You can totally find your perfect vibe within these one suburb. And don't even get me started on the food scene. It's ridiculous. It actually rivals DC proper, with award-winning restaurants serving everything from fancy comfort food to international cuisine that reflects how cosmopolitan the population is. Pretty amazing, right? Now, let's take a look at another spot I absolutely love. Now let's talk about Bethesda, which keeps attracting people looking for those top-notch schools combined with super community living. The median price is around $1.1 million to $1.3 million, with the median list price closer to $1.57 million, which works out to about $459,000 per square foot. That's actually pretty solid value when you consider all of the amenities and the location. Now, Bethesda's downtown isn't just some suburban afterthought. It's become a destination all on its own. The restaurant scene has an amazing shelf-driven places that food critics actually write about. And shopping, everything from cool boutiques to the big national brands. So you never really need to go into the city unless you want to. The community here does tend to be a bit older and more established than Arlington. A lot of people choose Bethesda specifically because of its school's reputation. Bethesda, Chevy Chase High School, and Walt Whitman High School are both among Maryland's top-ranked schools, with graduation rates over 94% and more than 90% of kids going to college. Impressive, right? Alright, if you're a fan of historic charm but still want all the modern perks, this next spot has it all. It blends the best of both worlds and continues to draw in new residents, even as prices keep rising. Alexandria's housing market just shot up 7.8% in a single month. That's huge. It shows just how hot this historic riverside community still is. With about 155,000 people, Alexandria has this amazing balance between its old school history and forward-looking development. The median home price here is around $718,000, and that's actually a pretty good deal compared to some of our higher-ranked suburbs. It's a great entry point for families who want those excellent schools and amenities without breaking into seven-figure territory. When we look at the market trends later, you'll see why this price point might represent the sweet spot for appreciation potential in 2025. But one thing I love about Alexandria is how diverse it is. You've got young professionals, families with kids, and empty nesters all living together in this really cool mix. This demographic diversity is something we don't see as much of in other places. But what really makes Alexandria special is all about the waterfront. The Potomac River basically shapes everything about life here, from the waterfront restaurants to boat access and those gorgeous scenic trails. It's kind of like living at a resort, but you're just 9 minutes from DC. In Old Town, those perfectly preserved buildings from the 1700s, cobblestone streets, and those beautiful federal-style townhomes. That creates a vibe you just can't find anywhere else around DC. Now, Alexandria's public schools have really stepped up their game in recent years. T.C. Williams High School, now called Alexandria City High School, yes, that's the same one from Remember the Titans, has implemented some innovative programs and seen graduation rates rise 87% to the highest in a decade. And beyond just schools, you've got cool cultural stuff like the Torpedo Factory Art Center, where actual working artists create and display their stuff in this converted World War I era munitions factory. I mean, how cool is that? Now, let's dive into our next suburb. Here's a spoiler. It's one of America's first planned communities, and you'll definitely see why. With about 64,893 people, Reston is a completely different animal. The whole place was designed with intention, and you feel it every day living there. The median price is around $616,000, and that comes out to $361 per square foot. Honestly, a steal when you look at all of the amenities you get. We'll talk more about the price per square foot value when we get to the market trend sections later. I've got to talk about Reston's community design because it's just so different from typical suburbs. It's built around these village centers that are all connected by trails and green spaces, so you can actually walk places. That's pretty rare in suburbia. Lake Anna Plaza, which was the original village center, has this amazing European-inspired waterfront vibe with local independent businesses and great community spaces where people actually hang out. Now, for commuters, Reston is a dream. The Silver Line Metro gets you downtown in just 38 to 45 minutes. And since it's near the Dulles Technology Corridor, a lot of residents actually have a reverse commute going against the main flow of traffic. Talk about wind. This setup makes Reston perfect for households with 2 working adults who might need to get to different parts of the region. Now, if luxury and prestige are what you're after, you're gonna love our next 2 suburbs. They're basically the cream of the crop for upscale living in the VC area, with amenities and exclusivity that totally justify those premium price tags. Okay, let's talk about McLean first, which has a median household income of a mind-blowing $200,001. That makes it hands down the wealthiest community in the entire region, with about 51,579 residents. McLean somehow manages to maintain this super exclusive atmosphere while surprisingly offering a pretty wide range of housing options and lifestyle choices. McLean location right by Tyson's Corner is clutch. It puts residents just minutes from the region's best shopping center and dining destination, which, by the way, keeps evolving from just a mall into this whole urban center thing. Now, the public schools here are among Fairfax County's absolute best. McLean High School sends kids to Ivy Leagues and other prestigious colleges at rates that make the national averages look sad in comparison. But what really sets McLean apart? It's home to all these diplomatic residences, government big shots, and corporate executives. This creates this really unique community where global perspectives are just part of everyday life, from international nights at schools to community events. And the houses? Oh man, we're talking estates with indoor pools, kitchens that will make professional chefs jealous, and yards designed by actual landscape architects. But here's what might surprise you. Despite being so upscale, McLean actually has a pretty diverse range of housing. You can find luxury condos starting around $260,000 to $950,000. I know, that's still a lot. All the way up to estates that go beyond $10 million. This means people at different stages of life and income levels can actually stay in a community they've fallen in love with. All right, let's talk about our final suburb. And honestly, It might just be my favorite in all of DC. When you guessed Chevy Chase, you nailed it. With a more exclusive population of just 9,484 for the broader Chevy Chase area, it really feels like its own little world. The median income here is an impressive $213,000, and home values sit around $1.19 million, with the median list price closer to $1.3 million in 2025. It's premium living right on the northwestern edge of DC. Now, the location advantage is just ridiculous. Chevy Chase residents have one of the easiest commutes of any suburb on our list. We're talking direct access to downtown DC in about 18 minutes by car when traffic is normal, or around 31 minutes by public transit. Can you imagine? This accessibility plus small-town feel creates this weird but awesome situation where people actually know their neighbors despite being just minutes from the nation's capital. Remember when I mentioned commute times for North Bethesda and Reston? Chevy Chase beats them both hands down. And the look of Chevy Chase is something special too. Picture streets with these massive tree canopies lined with gorgeous Tudor, colonial, and craftsman homes. Many of them date back to the early 1900s, but are kept in absolutely perfect condition. Plus, the commercial area along Connecticut Avenue has all the upscale shopping and restaurants you need without ever having to leave your neighborhood. But what I love about Chevy Chase is the vibe of understated elegance. The wealth here shows up in quality rather than flashiness. And the local public schools, they give private schools a serious run for their money, thanks to super involved parents and exceptional teachers who are drawn to the community. Alright, now let's look at the bigger picture. The housing market trend is affecting all these DC suburbs in 2025. This will help you understand the investment potential of each place we've talked about. So here's something wild. Despite those high interest rates we've been dealing with, DC suburban home prices are crazy resilient. Why? It's all about the region's economic foundation in government, tech, and professional services. These sectors just keep growing, even when the national economy gets shaky. And when we look at housing tiers across the region, we see some pretty interesting patterns. Those premium suburbs like McLean and Bethesda, $1.3 to $1.7 million, have been seeing steady appreciation. Bethesda is up nearly 19% year over year, while McLean had seen a recent dip, though the long-term trend is generally positive. But check this out. Mid-tier communities like Alexandria and Reston, $575,000 to $719,000, have actually seen an even more dramatic growth, with some areas jumping 7 to 8% in the last month. That's because buyers are hunting for relative value without giving up their quality of life. Remember that 7.8% monthly jump in Alexandria I mentioned earlier? That's part of this broader trend. The population shifts tells me a fascinating story too. Arlington's growing at almost 1%, while Alexandria has this slight decline of about negative 0.85%. This reflects changing preferences and development patterns. And look at the age differences. Arlington's way younger, median age of 35 and a half, compared to places like Chevy Chase where it's 46.2. This age gap affects everything from what kind of restaurants pop up to what recreational stuff gets built. You know what keeps driving demand across all these communities? Schools. There's this amazing virtuous cycle happen. Strong property values fund exceptional schools, which then attract home buyers willing to pay premium prices, which further strengthens the tax base and educational resources. It's like that self-feeding cycle that explains why these top suburbs stay so desirable even when markets get weird. This is exactly why those Winston Churchill High School stats in North Potomac are so impressive. They're a cause and effect of the community's success. Looking ahead to 2030, we're expecting continued strong performances in communities with mixed-use developments and metro access. North Bethesda is the perfect example with its transformation around Pike and Rose. This whole trend towards walkable suburban centers that combine residential convenience with urban amenities, it's not going anywhere. And remote work has completely changed the game. Buyers now value home office space, outdoor living areas, and community amenities way more than those shorter commutes. This is actually benefiting communities that are a bit further from DC but provide larger lots and more interior space. Will interest rates affect all this? Sure, inevitably. But here's the thing. The housing supply in the entire DC region is so limited that it creates this floor for property values even during economic downturns. Simply put, they're just not building enough new housing to keep up with population growth. So, prices stay supported even when financing gets more expensive. So, now the big question: how do you find your ideal DC suburb based on your specific priorities and lifestyle needs? Let me help you with that. As we've seen, each suburb offers something unique based on what matters most to you. North Potomac has great schools, amenities, and commutes. Arlington blends urban energy with suburban comfort. Alexandria offers historic waterfront living and culture. McLean is all about prestigious living and global connections. The key is understanding your priorities, whether it's schools, metro access, walkability, or space for a home office, to find a neighborhood that fits your lifestyle. Planning a move to one of these DC suburbs? Whether it's your first home or you're upgrading, my team is here to help you guide you through the process. We've helped hundreds make their way through the local market, and we'd love to do the same for you. Just email me at ryan@coalitionpg.com or find all the details below to get started. And before you leave, don't miss the next video. You're wrong about Washington, D.C., and here's why. It's packed with insights that'll change the way you think about D.C. See you there.